Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Thank you for watching. Well, it's been about a little over a week since the No Kings protests, the big rally that, a lot of people are still talking about today. And I had some of my own take on it, and I wanted to look at some of the other feedback that other people were saying and get some of their reviews, which, for the most part, were pretty interesting. And from what I saw, as far as like Mike Johnson being the absolute liar and worthless person that he is, and there was no Hamas there. It wasn't a "We Hate America." There was no Al Qaeda there. There was Antifa in the sense that people that were there were opposed to fascism. Antifa is not like an official group or anything. There's no Antifa website where you can enlist to become a member, and nobody was paid by George Soros. I wish you guys would stop saying that, because it's a ridiculous lie that just grows so old. Sadly, there's some people out there that's still buying into that. So, is George Soros really paying people? If that's the case, where's my check? You owe me money, bro. What's up? I went to 2 different events, and I was primarily at one all day, and the other one it was in a neighboring town, and for the most part, fairly peaceful. That's not to say that there weren't some hecklers that showed up to try and stir things up. The first one, they didn't have police officers there, but there were people that were assigned there that had trained in de-escalation, and that pretty much oversaw everything and facilitated the event, and helped with, because it spanned it out over 2 different blocks, so that if people wanted to cross the street, they helped getting people across safely and stuff to make sure nobody got hurt, and that everybody kind of abided by the rules. There were no weapons allowed or anything like that. There was, if any acts of violence would break out, they were assigned to go in there and de-escalate and make sure people kept off the road, which pretty much did for the most part, except for people taking pictures and stuff. And the second one I went to, the area was more barricaded and police controlled, and like I said, no violence whatsoever, except for some of the hecklers. And the hecklers, for the most part, were just driving by, yelling, screaming. I've been to other protests like that, and in the past, I've always, just ignored them. Or, there was one where golf came for the golf tournament, and you had protesters on one side, and on the opposite side, you had counter-protesters in support of Trump that were there. And for the most part, we just ignored them. There was something interesting there that I noted, and that is the local news was there, and it actually interviewed one of the Trump supporters, which is fine, and he kind of said it, surprisingly, in a civilized way. Not saying that everyone is uncivilized, but this one was pretty much, I'm here to support America and support my president. We want to do it peacefully. And if those on the other side want to counter-protest, that's fine. And I tend to agree. I couldn't agree with that more. It was perfectly said. Okay? I respect other people's right to, protest, as long as it's done peacefully. I do not oppose the violence of any way. And unfortunately, like I said, some of the hecklers in other states, at other No Kings rallies, things got slightly out of hand. Like I saw the one infamous video of a guy who went there, screaming explicitives and homophobic slurs and other things, praising ICE and praying, saying God bless Donald Trump and everything. And somebody snatched his glasses and he fell, and then he got tripped. And, he kept on persisting. And some of the people there were trying to get him to leave and just say, this is not going to work out for you. I'll admit, I wish that person had not snatched his glasses. I wish it didn't escalate like that. And I've seen similar other videos we're going there where MAGA hats being snatched. These people, to me, are not protesters. Those are more hecklers. The distinction is, if you're going there to protest, you protest. You want to make your message loud and heard and everything, and there might be counter-protesters there, but you're going there for a simple point. These hecklers were just there for one reason and one reason only. They wanted to start trouble. They wanted to, inflame things. They wanted things to get out of hand. Unfortunately, some of them got their wish. In one instance, a woman actually went there with a gun. Luckily, no one got shot. No shots were fired. But she ended up getting arrested. In a similar incident, somebody else went there with a firearm. Could you imagine if I went to a MAGA rally with carrying a gun, how that would go down? Not that I ever would in a million years, but it's what the hell are these people thinking? Somebody brought up, there were two interesting points. One is my own and one is somebody else made, and even else for more. Protesting is good, but it's not enough. And if you're not doing anything else besides that, you're not really doing much of change. But first, let's say, what is the point of No Kings? Well, the point is for unity, to get a certain message out. Those messages may be varied, but for the most part, they're on positive, and that they want to see change because they don't like what the current administration's doing. We want to see everyone get health care. We don't want to see the big, beautiful bill take away health care or SNAP benefits. We don't want to see ICE raids. We want to solve the crisis at the border, but not by denying people due process or breaking the law or just snatching people, including American citizens. We want our democracy. We want free and fair elections. We don't want voter fraud, and we don't want people trying to steal elections. If you really want to see a violent protest, look no further than January 6th. Those are your domestic terrorists. Those are your violent protesters. Those are the thugs, or as some people, I forget how Mike Johnson framed them specifically, but, that is your non-peaceful protest going on. No Kings was a peaceful protest. And the other point is, like, somebody sent me a message saying, like, oh, with all the protests, because I've covered quite a few in addition to No Kings, saying, like, oh, with all those protests, Donald Trump is still the president. To which, if I could, I would politely say, yeah, I know that. I never had any illusions thinking that after the first, let alone the second No Kings protest, that Donald Trump would no longer be president, that he would somehow be forcefully removed from office, or that he would get intimidated and just resign. That I know that's not going to happen, okay? But there's also other things that we could also do. Have you been doing any preparations for the midterms? Because there's still a window of opportunity for that. I did a previous video on that, talking about volunteering, whether it be phone banking, canvassing, doing postcards or text messages, or, finding ways to reach out to voters. Or if you don't have the time, just make a simple donation. It doesn't have to be a huge dollar amount, because every little bit counts. That's one thing you can do. The midterms will soon be over. For the record, I did vote early yesterday. And that is keep reaching out to your representatives, your local representatives, which I've been doing, not daily, but several times a week. I'm always calling them up on the phone. Not just the ones in my district, but the ones in neighboring districts too, and yes, even Republican representatives. I've heard plenty of times, well, you're not in our district. Well, so what? If I'm calling about gun reform, that means I'm worried about, gun violence anywhere in my area, not just in my local community. If I'm calling about healthcare, that means I don't want to see anyone in my community and the neighboring communities lose their healthcare. So I get a little pushback on that and stuff, but I keep persisting. And if you don't have time to call, you can go to their websites. Most of them, as far as I know, all of them, if you're in their district, have forms where you can submit things. And sometimes I use ChatGPT to generate letters because my writing skills aren't all that great. But I didn't see the No Kings protest as a means to an end. It's a means to show unity and to say that a majority of the people in America don't like what's going on. And I'm willing to bet that there were some Republicans that attended these protests. They may not admit it, but I'm willing to bet that they were there. My other point is, here's the distinction between counter-protesters, whether it be No Kings or any other rally. Like, that guy spoke peacefully before, and I do believe that a lot of people that counter-protested actually do it because they wholeheartedly believe that Donald Trump is doing the right thing by the country. I think they're wrong. I think everything in Donald Trump is wrong pretty much, but they believe that. And if they want to counter-protest, that is their right. Here's what I've done in the past when it comes to counter-protests. And there have been some I've seen which were nearby from a protest I attended, or I just happen to be driving and I see them. And do you want to know what I do, or what I did? Are you ready for it? Nothing. Not a thing. I ignore them. A lot of times when counter-protests show up, either in a drive-by, a lot of times I'll just wave and say goodbye. I've had people flip me the bird, to which I just give the peace sign. And the one before that, the golf one, where just as I was leaving, somebody drove by and screamed, "F you." And I instantly replied, "Thank you." I don't think they heard me because they were going pretty fast, but I didn't react to that. Why? Because I'm not going to take the bait. If you want to counter-protest, that's fine. Whether or not I react to it, that's on me. And for the most part, that is what their goal is, to distract, take away from it. So when I see other protesters like going against counter-protests, yelling and screaming, I'll politely tap them on the shoulder and say, don't do that. Don't take the bait. Don't give in to them. You are giving them exactly what they want, though. As much as I respect their right to counter-protest, I have my right not to respond. If people want to show up and talk, that's fine, as long as they're doing it peacefully. We can talk, but at a protest, I usually don't talk to them. Why? Because their minds are already made up. And like I said, the goal is to distract, and I don't want to be distracted. I'm there for a purpose, to get a message across and promote unity and hope for change down the road. Whether or not that happens is another story. Like I said, just don't rely on protests alone. You gotta be creative and do other things within the boundaries of the law in order to bring about change. Not just our local reps, but also state senators and even our governors. Yes, I've been in touch with my governor as well on more than one occasion. Not directly, I've spoken to their staff and everything, conveying certain concerns, but it's not just protests and stuff like that. And my final point is, as far as carnal protests go, what I would say to them, especially the hecklers, there's a great distinction, not just about what we support, and that is, when I'm at No Kings, and pretty much a majority of people that are at New Kings, we are promoting country. We are speaking out for our country, for America. You guys are counter-protesting, are there for one person and one person only. And time again, we've seen that that person does not give a flying fig about you. I'm trying to keep the profanity off. You guys are there for one person, especially the hecklers there that are coming in with MAGA hats and stuff like that. They just want to defend their Trump. My question would be, because there's a flawed logic in what they're doing, is what do you guys care if there's protests and stuff? If they really don't bother you, if you think they're that meaningless, if you think we're all paid George Soros protests, then there's no logic to be there. You got your president. You won the election. You're getting your big, beautiful bill. When you start losing healthcare benefits, which could potentially happen, or SNAP benefits, assuming you're using them, and losing additional rights, like Trump has been trying to do, what then? That's on you. But you got your guys, so what do you care if I'm out there, or a bunch of us are protesting? Whether it's a small group of 10 or a pretty sizable group of, say, hundreds and sometimes even thousands. What do you care? You are there to promote one person, and that person doesn't give a shit about you. Yep, there we go, profanity. Anyhow, you might disagree and you'll say, oh no, Trump's doing all these great things. From what I've seen recently, like I said, the big beautiful bill is looking to take away healthcare. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see SNAP benefits be defunded or have funding taken away from in any way. Because when I vote and when I show support, it's for all of America as a whole. And you might say, well, you don't have kids, you don't need SNAP benefits or stuff like that, or you're not on Medicare or Medicaid. That doesn't impact you. So what do you care? I care because other people can get impacted. People close to me can get impacted. Not every vote I do is just for what can benefit me in my own community. I think of the country as a whole. I'm sure there are counter-protesters that do feel that way. They do care about America. They just put their faith in the wrong person. But for a lot of you out there, it is just a cult-like worship, and you want to be there to, impress Daddy Trump, who's not even the least bit impressed, who doesn't even care. And he's shown his disdain for America by putting out an AI video of him flying a jet, dumping feces on the American crowd. What does he care? If anything, I thought he was all about unity and making America great. How is that making America great if you only care about the Americans that voted for you and support you? If anything, try and sell me. If Donald Trump actually, instead of doing the big beautiful bill, did the big Medicare or Medicaid expansion bill, like gave everybody free health care and stuff like that, I may not like the guy, but I would at least acknowledge, hey, he's doing something right. If he found a way to increase benefits and not take away rights, I would actually care. If he actually saw the border crisis with compassion and increasing border security and finding ways to fix the broken system so that refugees and people can immigrate far more easily and not have to come in illegally or be undocumented, I would be all for that. But that's not what he's doing. His methods lean more to that of an authoritarian, and he's only shown that he's driven by self-interest. You still don't agree? We still have a government shutdown that he caused. And in his words once, I don't know if he was president at the time or if it was from his first administration, but he put out a statement saying, yeah, whenever there's a shutdown, the president that is in charge, it's on him. Well, to quote your words, Donald, this shutdown is on you. You can blame the Democrats all you want. You can point the finger all you want. Same thing with you, Mike Johnson. You're an absolute liar. Both of you. But in the end, it is on him. He could easily open the government, so could Mike Johnson, but he chooses not to. Why? Because supposedly some have said that they're willing to come to his table, and his message to the Democrats is, open up the government, and then maybe I'll give you what you want. And we know how good his promises are. His word is less than you know what. So, no, I don't trust that. So, yeah, the Democrats are going to keep hold because they don't want to see cuts to healthcare or any other benefits that greatly help the working class. He's focused on Jimmy Kimmel. He's focused on his big, beautiful showroom he's created. He should be focusing on the shutdown, which goes to show where his priority lies, and that his vanity projects are nothing more than for himself. I don't care about a ballroom. That doesn't benefit me in any way. Even if the ballroom was right here in my community, I was allowed to go and see it or, attend parties in it. I don't care. That's the type of stuff I'm not interested in. I'm interested in healthcare. I'm interested in, like I said, helping the working class, livable wages and stuff, or lowering the cost of living, that sort of thing. He wants his big, beautiful bill. The question is, what do you want? What's your takeaway on the New Kings protests? I'm curious to hear your comment. And even if you are MAGA, if you want to ask some questions, I'm more than willing to answer it to the point. If you're just going to make some obnoxious remark, I'm just going to ignore it. If you're going to keep sending me messages that I can't respond to, well, there's nothing much I can do about that. But the simple truth of the matter is that I am out there protesting for America. I am out there voting, volunteering to make changes to benefit America. I am out there calling my reps to see to it that some of these bad things don't happen, Thank you for watching. I hope you understand.